what's been hard for this? What's been hard this year? Like, there anything that's been hard to have hope for you?
Oh, for me, it's definitely like along with COVID, it's been our moving situation to a new house. Like, it's been very, very stressful and chaotic for everybody.
Especially at the beginning of when all of this began to unravel, everyone was super excited for the year 2020, and then there's all this, like, anything that goes wrong, everyone blames it on being 2020 now.
What about you, Sheba? Anything this year that's really challenged your hope?
I guess it could be connected to COVID as well, but just increased isolation has just been really hard.
So I was supposed to be on the team that would go to Southeast Asia this summer, and having gone last year, like, I learned so much and matured in many ways, and just that experience was really cool. So COVID obviously prevented that from happening, and just missing out on that opportunity was a big loss, and it took some time to get over.
So what do you think brings the most hope to people your age, or what do you think makes people your age the most hopeless? So both sides of that coin, I guess.
I think for people our age, and probably for people in general, they hope in what they're successful in.
I was gonna say something similar to Mo. When you like work really hard towards something and then like you put your life into it, like for example with sports, just feeling hopeful. Like if they receive the feeling of hopefulness would be like if they would like make the sports team or just be included in whatever they're like working towards.
Yeah, so sort of like what Mo and Grayson said, like from what I've seen, a lot of people use just being on the sports teams and being popular as sort of an escape from their family life and things they have outside of school. And so once that gets taken away, like everything just kind of falls downhill.
A trend that always comes up is just not finding any answers or being lost about how to find the answers in the future, and just kind of that turn of transition brings up the question of like, what is my purpose in life and why am I even here?
I think especially since we've been talking about all the things that are worldly that people have hopes in, I don't think necessarily hoping is a bad thing. Like, I can, for example, I'm going surfing for the first time on Saturday, and I can hope that I'll have fun, and I can hope that I'll be somewhat good and not fall on my face the entire time. And that's not an entirely bad thing, but if that's the only thing that I'm hoping in, and I really suck at surfing on Saturday, then that's really gonna suck for me, because I'm gonna get, like, feel really terrible about it in myself. But anything that's not hope in Jesus will at some point run out.
I totally agree with Mo. It's just a lot of people can try and find the answers that they have in life, and anything that's not God is not really, it will not suffer.
What part of the Christmas story gives you the most hope, or do you identify the most with?
I can go. So for me, the fact that the Lord used Mary and Joseph, like, I don't know how to say this nicely, but they were pretty much nobodies, but the Lord, like, still used them for such a big purpose. And that just gives me hope that, like, no matter what happens, the Lord can use me for His will and His glory. And like, I feel like our parents and in the church, they always tell us that the Lord can use us in big or small ways, but deep down, I don't think we fully believe that we can be used for something that big, like what Mary and Joseph did.
I've actually never thought of that the way Jonathan thought of that, and that was very deep. So that was really good. For me personally, I was thinking about just in general how God sent his only son to just come down and just sacrifice himself for everybody else. It just amazes me that he felt the urge to do that, even though we just completely messed up this world and our decisions just are all of our decisions are just like, some of them are just terrible. And just the thought that Jesus came down to save us is very reassuring at times, especially when you feel like you don't have any hope. So I like to remind myself of that.
I guess my favorite part about the Christmas story, I actually thought of while I remember teaching little kids about this Christmas story, because when they talk about like their birth or their siblings, you know, a baby is always very pampered and always must be in a comfortable room and bed. And just the contrast of how God, Jesus in this baby, and how he's all-powerful and he has come down in this very humble position and in this very humble picture.
And I think it's really cool how small kids see how significant that is, even from being very young and probably having a lot of questions about the, I guess it would be considered abnormalities of Jesus's birth, far compared to our typical like hospital procedure where everything is so orderly. And I think to circle back to what you were saying about humility, I think that's something that always kind of I have thought about a lot, and how beautiful that picture is of how God sent him to us of all people.
If you knew they would listen to you and take you seriously for 2 minutes, what one thing would you share?
I think I'd say that there's more to life than what we see, than what we experience now, and there is hope in eternity, because this is not life on earth. It's just not the end.
Yeah, so kind of like what Sheba said, I would just say like this is not all there is. Like there's more, and this is not what God intended for us to have. I would just say like this is only temporary, and dang, I forgot what I was thinking. But
Want me to bail you out?
yeah,
I think
please.
I've got an answer.
Please.
Okay, so if I were to tell the whole world, I don't think I could make it into 3 or 4 sentences, but I would just tell them 2020 has been absolutely terrible. Your life will get better. The years to come will get better. And God, tell them about like what God has done, how he brought his son down to save us from all of our brokenness, and just tell them that he has a plan for you in the future, and that there's more past, like what Sheva and Jonathan said, there's more past this life than they already think there is.
If the situation is, if you knew they would listen to whatever you had to say, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I would say, if the Christmas story isn't just a story and it's real, then that would have to mean that Jesus came to save us, which would mean he had to have a good reason to do it, which would mean that you're worth a lot.